So with 2023 rapidly coming to a close, it's time to start looking at 2024 when it comes to video game companies. Now, of course, many of us are expecting Nintendo to at least announce new hardware in 2024, and we're all pretty excited for that. But that doesn't mean that the Nintendo Switch doesn't have games coming out next year that are big titles, games that are worth playing, and games that you should be excited for. Today we're going to talk about some of those titles in this video, so if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Yes, kind of messed up shaving my mustache, but hey, we improvise, we get things done, and we do what we got to do around these parts. But without any further ado, let's talk about the biggest and best Nintendo Switch games coming in 2024. And to start things off, on January 18th, we have Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Now, there's been a lot of slander kind of around this game. A lot of people don't seem to be extremely excited for it. I've even seen some people saying, oh, it looks cheap. And I'm like, what is wrong with you, dude? This is one of the best looking Prince of Persia games. This is one of the best looking Ubisoft games that we have gotten in quite a while. It takes a more traditional Metroidvania style, which Prince of Persia was originally known for. If you play like the original Prince of Persia game, like, yeah, it has sort of that cinematic feel to it that games like Another World and all this sort of stuff had, but it was more so about exploring and figuring out the best path for you to take. So it's very sort of respective in that manner when it comes to classic Prince of Persia stuff, but of course it has a more action-orientated gameplay style. I love the way this game looks. I love the way it looks like this game plays, and I'm really excited for this game. I think this is going to be a huge surprise to a lot of people with just how good and how much fun this game is. Like I said, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown comes out on January 18th, and that's really the first game to sort of kick things off for Nintendo's 2024, because the next game we have is a game called Another Code Recollection, coming out on January 19th of 2024. Now, I remember this when it was called Trace Memory, and it came out on the Nintendo DS, and this was actually an interesting game. You know, it's a more traditional puzzle style game, exploration, having to figure out things. You go to this island because your dad like sends you a note, and you're like, yo, my dad's dead. He's not supposed to be sending me a note, but like, you go to see what is going on with this, and it's a mystery game. It's a game that I've actually forgotten the ending of, so I'm gonna be surprised with this. And of course, it's been enhanced for modern platforms such as the Nintendo Switch. I don't know why I said it like that, because this is a Switch exclusive game, but they've redone the visuals. I'm sure some of the puzzles will be a little bit different as well. And it also includes another Trace Memory game that was never localized here in North America. I believe it was a Wii game that we never got here. So you're getting two games within the franchise here, and they're fun games. Like, I can only attest for the first game, but I definitely had a great time playing it back in the day. January 19th, you got Another Code Recollection. Don't sleep on this game. I think this will be fun for fans of puzzle games and like story games, and I know that doesn't sound like me, but I did enjoy this game back in the day. February 14th, Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 Remastered. Let's freaking go, baby. Because the original 3 Tomb Raider games are some of the peak games of the franchise, you know, when it was sort of finding its footing. These action adventure games where you're just raiding these tombs, essentially, no pun intended, and trying to find different things, and you're coming across different animals and stuff like that that are trying to attack you, and dinosaurs and stuff, and then the games get progressively crazier and bigger in scope as you go along. But the fact that they've actually like redone the controls in this game and the visuals, that those are the biggest things that are kind of holding this game back. I could look past the visuals. I can get into the PlayStation 1 chunky graphical style. I actually played Tomb Raider 1 on the Saturn, which was the inferior version of this game. But like, the fact that they're redoing the controls and the frame rate is so important with this, because I think these games are going to age very well when you have something like that, because the originals, you know, they didn't feel all that great when they first came out, and obviously by modern standards they wouldn't feel all that great either. I'm super excited for this remastered collection to dive back into them. Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 Remaster comes out on February 14th, but alas, save your money, kiddies, if you're not a big Tomb Raider fan, because on February 16th we have Mario versus Donkey Kong. Now, this is a bit of a controversial game. Maybe it's not a controversial game for you, but it's kind of a controversial game for me, because this was, I guess, the Donkey Kong game that people were teasing, even though they said it wasn't one of these styles of games. And like, they're fine. You know, they're puzzle games. There's some enjoyment to be had, but it's literally a Game Boy Advance game with a new coat of paint. You know, that's at least what they've shown us so far, is it's a Game Boy Advance game with a new coat of paint, and it's like, why not just put the original game on NSO and like call it a day? I don't know. There's obviously a lot of remakes and remasters coming to us from Nintendo in 2024 for the Switch. Some of them are going to hit better than others. It's a fine game. I might end up checking it out eventually, especially if they add in some additional content. I think that would make it a bit sweeter. But Mario vs. Donkey Kong, February 16th. The next game we're going to talk about is a game that I am personally looking forward to, and that's Star Wars Dark Forces Remastered, because when I was a kid, I liked Star Wars a lot. And watching all these games that came out on the 16-bit systems and all that sort of stuff, I was like, you know, these are okay. But then you see pictures of Dark Forces, which was a PC game, a first-person Doom-style shooter, and you're like, yo, this is what I want to play. But I didn't have a PC to play it on, so I was kind of stuck out in the cold with this. So to finally be able to play this game, a remastered edition of this game, like, I am super looking forward to it. This is classic Star Wars, none of that sort of crazy stuff they're doing nowadays with the franchise. I'm very hyped for this game. I cannot wait to finally play it. I actually bought this game on Steam on my Steam Deck, and it doesn't work on the Steam Deck. It's not compatible, and I'm super depressed that I couldn't play the original game, but now I don't have to worry about it. February 29th, Star Wars Dark Forces Remastered. Cannot wait. March 22nd, keeping the train rolling, we have Princess Peach Showtime. Super Princess Peach! Cool looking game. You know, this game looks very creative, and I think that's what's going to be the most important thing about this game. It does, you know, if you would have said, hey, they're making a Princess Peach game, I would have assumed it was a 2D platformer. I think most people would have assumed that they would just do, you know, a stock 2D platformer, keep things easy, you know, appeal to a certain segment of your fan base. But this game looks very creative with all the different gameplay styles. And I think this is one of the more attractive Nintendo Switch games, at least that we know of so far, for 2024. I'm actually really looking forward to this game. So March 22nd, Princess Peach Showtime. Now we're getting into the games that don't necessarily have a release date, but we do know that they are, well, allegedly coming in 2024. First off, Contra, Operation Gulaga. This looks great. You know, this looks awesome. The original Contra game, new coat of paint, online multiplayer, play with a friend. Like, this looks great. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, Contra is cool. Contra is another one of those franchises, those Konami franchises that we just pretend like don't exist anymore, and I don't understand why we do that. But I think this game looks really fun. I have high expectations for it, and this is one of my more anticipated titles of 2024. I'm not the biggest Contra fan in the world. You know, some of the games, really the games after Contra, the original on the NES, like Super Contra was cool. Then they made Contra, what was it, Contra Forces or whatever. And then like Contra 3, the Alien Wars, like all those sort of games were just like way too freaking hard for me. But Contra Operation Gulaga, this looks awesome. Or Galuga. God, I can't talk. Contra Operation Andrew Gulata comes out in 2024. The amazingly named Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is coming out in summer of 2024. Fantastic job naming this game, Nintendo. They really went above and beyond with kind of, really coming up with a creative title for this game. I remember playing this game on the 3DS and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I preferred the mansion exploration portions of Luigi's Mansion 1 on the GameCube to the sort of more level-based stagnant style of this game, but gameplay wise I think this game was actually a bit better than the original Luigi's Mansion. To see what they're doing with this game in HD, see if they're adding stuff into it, like is it going to be something like Super Mario RPG, or are they going to add in more content? I guess that remains to be seen, but I'm looking forward to Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I think this is an underappreciated 3DS game, even though it sold like really well. And getting it to a new audience and sticking with the remasters, we have Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door coming out in 2024 as well. It doesn't have an official release date or anything like that. The GameCube classic now going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. This is a game that I've actually played and beaten. Really fun game. I like this game. I like the one that came out on the Wii a lot as well. Sort of charming games. I think Mario RPG games, the Paper Mario games themselves, they're fun. They always kind of have a more tongue-in-cheek story. There's some cool elements in there as well. Things that you wouldn't necessarily expect to see in a Nintendo game. So I like these games, and I think this is going to be a fun revisit to the game. I haven't played the original in, God, probably, I played it when I was in my early 20s, so we're coming up on like 15 plus years with this, so I'm looking forward to playing this game. I don't really remember much about it. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door of 2024, and the final game we have is a game that we don't know if it's 2024. It's Metroid Prime 4. At some point in time, you got to figure this game is going to come out, right? And if Nintendo is announcing new hardware, there is a chance that this game launches on new hardware instead of the Switch, or maybe it's a cross-generational title. It all sort of depends on what the game itself is. But obviously, Metroid Prime 4 is a very highly anticipated game, and I hope that it comes out sometime in 2024. Even if it's a holiday game, like, okay, you know what? That's fine. We'll wait a little bit, but like, it's just been insane with this game. A super long development cycle, trouble in paradise, having to restart things and switch development studios. It hasn't been a good situation for this game, but I'm still hopeful that the game itself will be quality. So Metroid Prime 4, that's kind of the outlier. And there we go, folks. There's a handful of games coming to the Switch in 2024. Let me know which games you're looking forward to in the comments section down below. Of course, be sure to add games to your list. I know that there's a lot of, smaller budget titles. There's a lot of third-party titles, a lot of RPGs coming out in 2024, of course, because the Nintendo Switch is an RPG system. And as RPG 85, maybe I'll cover those and make a video about it one day. But be sure to let other people know what games you're looking forward to. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, dislike, leave a hate comment. I don't care. Interaction is interaction, baby. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.